It makes me look good when you're working with me. I don't care what they say about you. I don't believe it.
Good, thanks.
Unconscious male, not breathing.
Not breathing.
Can you commence CPR, please?
2.
Thank you. Hurry up.
Katie and Nick's friendship makes the difficult job of being a paramedic a whole lot easier.
I've known Katie since she joined the ambulance service many years ago. I just terrorise her, really.
Nick is amazing. He's loud. He's very loud.
Pulse present. Happy days. That's another one saved by the Welsh Ambulance Service.
But I'd be lost without Nick here. You always know when Nick's coming.
Both Nick and Katie had their own reasons for joining the ambulance service. In the 1980s, when the role of the paramedic was still evolving, Nick was among the first to sit the exams.
Initially, I started off working as a technician in 1987. And after about 3 or 4 years then, I decided I'd like to take it a step further then, because paramedics were quite new then. And I'd watched other people who had been working as a paramedic, and I thought, well, I'd like to do that. And to be honest, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but oh my God, so rewarding when I qualified.
Personal experience was the motivation for Katie's career in the ambulance service.
I've always wanted to be a paramedic because I've always wanted to help. My mum died at a young age from asthma when me and my sister were both young. I was a baby. I know the ambulance came to my mum and tried to help my mum. It was always in the forefront of my mind, being there to help and making people's lives better.
And she's learnt a lot from Nick on how to deal with patients.
Taken into a room where someone's not feeling well, instantly people in there kind of relax and feel better and start telling jokes and lighten the situation straight away, and he's brilliant at doing that.
I love talking to patients and having a laugh, and I get away with murder, I know I do, but I really enjoy it. And for me, that's the best part of my job, is meeting people I never see. I may only be with them for 20, 30 minutes, but they never forget me when I finish with them. They all think I'm nuts. You're being funny now, are you?
You don't stand out at all.
No, of course not, no.
But Katie and Nick's careers haven't been without their trials. They were both working in Bridgend when a series of tragedies hit that would have a devastating impact on the town and the ambulance service.
Well, in 2007 to 2009, we had a spate where we were having hangings of young men and women, basically on a daily basis. And I must have dealt with about 8. These suicides, they don't leave you.
It was awful, and then the press on top really didn't help matters. They just escalated it, made it a lot worse.
It started a trend, and people would think, oh, I'll do that. It started to get the station down. The jokes and things like that dried up, and it wasn't a happy place to be, and it impacted on me in my family life, where I didn't want to go to work. I even took a period of sickness then.
For 18 months, Nick didn't go to work. He was home with post-traumatic stress, and that was a very stressful time for the whole family.
But I've got to be honest, I got a wife and I got a family. My wife will always ask me, how's your day been? And she'll know if I've had not a nice job or whatever, she'll look after me. She cares for me, and she knows.
We didn't know if he'd go back to work, but one day I come home from work and he'd picked himself up and said, I'm going back to work, which, yeah, I was pleased about, because Nick likes to sit in the house just watching telly all day, so I don't think that would have been any good for him. And I would have come home and told him off all the time.
Nick went back to the job he loved and settled back into his role. But in 2019, he had another setback when he and Katie responded to a call.
The day of the attack, I was working a 2 till 2 shift. I was working on the response vehicle. I hadn't long started work, and they gave me a call to a man who had collapsed in the car park in the supermarket. So I made my way to the call put my lights and sirens on and headed towards the call. They told me that there was an ambulance gonna either get there before me or just around the same time as me.
I was working an afternoon shift with my colleague, Richard. When we arrived on scene, we parked up and I walked over to the patient to assess myself now, make sure that the patient was still breathing, to which he was breathing, but he was unconscious, I thought, and sort of slumped forward by a bench. So I told my colleague, Richard, it would be better if we got the stretcher out, ready to move him across onto the stretcher, because I didn't want him falling and hurting himself.
We pulled up pretty much the same time, and as I walked into the car park, got out the car and walking towards Nick was already walking towards the gentleman who was slumped over the bench.
Richard, my colleague, when we got the stretcher, I was still trying to get any level of response from this patient.
As we kind of tried to prop him up to get his airway open as well, you know, and see what condition he was in, he woke up.
When he did come around, and the first thing he did was attack Katie.
And started lashing out and started punching and throwing hits and caught me in the chest, and then turned his attentions to Nick then and started lashing out at him.
So I leaned over and I grabbed his jumper and I pulled his jumper up over his head and down over him and held him down across the bench. But oh my God, he was strong.
And next thing, there's a woman coming running over the bridge, heavily pregnant, started attacking us as well, verbally.
She's jumping all over me, screaming and shouting and slapping me and let him go, let him go. And I thought to myself, I ain't letting him go, because if I let him go, it's gonna kick off, yeah.
And yeah, it just felt like forever that we were just there trying to stop him, because if we'd have let him go, between him and then his girlfriend on top, I dread to think what would have happened. This girl was 7 months pregnant.
Either Richard or Katie then phoned for the police, because this patient was just, he was just too big. He was huge. I was trying to hold him down, and the girl then kept jumping on me and thinking, and eventually then I let go. And I let go, and he sort of sat up, and then he punched me clean in the face.
He kept grabbing out at us and pulling at us and grabbing our clothes and
then the next thing I know, he grabbed my face, and then he grabbed my glasses, and he absolutely bent and thinged my glasses. So I tried to get back onto him, and his girlfriend is still trying to stop me.
she was trying to climb onto the bench and on top of us while we were trying to stop this man attack us, you know, and I kept saying to her, get down, you're pregnant, you know, you're going to do more damage to yourself. Leave, you know, you think of your baby.
And by that time, then the police have arrived. So the police came over and to help, obviously, and the boy then had come around then, and he's looking at me and he's telling me that I know who you are, I know your face, and I'm telling you I'm going to come back and I'm going to kill your wife and I'm going to kill your family and I'm going to kill you.
He winded me and caught my chest and left me with a bit of bruising. Nick, unfortunately, probably caught the worst end of it.
I realised then that my glasses were broken, my face had been swollen, my lips, my eye, and I was shaking, and I was thinking, what's going on? And it shook me up. And I'm sitting there now, and I'm quite shaken now, and Katie's saying, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. But I wasn't, like.
Once the adrenaline wears off, you feel really deflated, really, wow, you know, and reality kicks in then at just what you've had to deal with.
When I was sitting in the car, I'm thinking, my God, He could have killed me then. And I'm thinking, it's the first time ever I thought, I'm too old for this job. I can't do this anymore. No, it's your go next.
The incident would also have a huge impact on Nick and Katie's families.
Oh, go on.
I first heard of the incident from a phone call. Nick phoned me to say he's been beaten up, his glasses are all broke. That's when the anxiety, start. In those couple of seconds, Teeny comes in, you think, well, what state is he going to be in, or how are we going to pick him back up from this? The part that upset him more was that the fella threatened the rest of the family. I think that done it more for him than actually being attacked.
By the time I come home, it feels like my wife has been assaulted, my children have been assaulted, because it impacts on all of us. The next day when I saw my grandson, and basically he asked me not to go back to work again. He said, I don't want you to go to work anymore, Papa. He said, because I don't want you to get beaten up.
Katie's husband was also in shock after the incident.
But when the phone does go, my heart does miss a beat. And to find out this guy that she'd been treating, who was about 6'4" and 18 stone, had actually been punching her and throwing her around, just made me so angry and so shocked. Also made me sort of confused to why someone would do this to people that's helping them.
Hello. Yeah, so how are you otherwise?
Fortunately for Nick and Katie, the Welsh Ambulance Service provides excellent support to help deal with incidents like this.
Okay. Are you back in work yet? Knowing Nick, he's a big physical guy, and to read on the report what happened to him did shock me, and it must have been a ferocious attack. And there's a determination then to support them as best I can and to make sure that the offender answered for his actions. Yep, cheers, bye.
The offender was convicted of 2 counts of assault of an emergency worker. He was given a 16-week custodial sentence and ordered to pay £250 in compensation to Nick and £200 to Katie.
And it was relief, really, to know that he'd been taken off the street and and to be honest, hopefully he got into some rehabilitation program while he was in prison.
Although the offender had been convicted, it wasn't over for Nick and Katie.
Once the case is finished, it doesn't mean you can switch the light off and close the book. Nick and Katie weren't themselves at all. Be bubbly, friendly, happy, but they were not. I'd say they were very badly shaken. Certainly not the people that I knew.
My way of dealing with my stresses from my job tends to be getting out, go for a walk, get out, just walk along the beach, just be anywhere where you can just think about it. Take my dogs, off we go, 2 hours later, come back feeling really refreshed.
Albie, come on in, Ob. Coming in. Come on in, up we go, up. Hey, Paul. Come here, Paul. Ah, good boy, good boy. I think he knew something was going on. He was there for me. And he always is. When I'm with him, I'm not so stressed out, or I don't think about work or anything like that. It's just me and Albie. We sit here. He gives me cuddles. We always have a cutch and a cuddle, and he just loves me, don't you?
A few months later, and Nick and Katie have put the incident behind them.
Spoke to Nick recently. Bit more like his old self. Good to hear.
The shift is over. We're going home. If it wasn't for my family, I would not be doing this job at this moment in time. I would have finished. But it's because of them that I keep on doing it. And I enjoy doing it.
I'm not going to let some man ruin it for me. This is my future, this is my career, this is what I enjoy doing. I come to work every day and enjoy what I do. We always knew we could rely on each other, but we've kind of proved it to each other now that we're always there for each other. I've still got babies to look after, my puppies.
We argue, we fight, but I still love her to bits. And I trust her 100% and I'll always have her back, and I know she always has mine.